What's your opinion of Don Juan?
My opinion of Don Juan. I don't actually know what day he's reading about. He said some kind of Indian descent, but
well, he's Indian. He's a Yaqui Indian.
He's fucking freaked out. He didn't know what he was talking about. His assistant and he was just writing something on a piece of paper.
But what do you think about the fact that he's considered a man of knowledge?
By whom?
By whom?
Yes, by whom? Some scholars.
That scholar did. He
I
himself.
said scholars. I didn't say one.
Scholars.
Name some off your head.
Oh, I can't name them. I mean,
I'm sure see what I'm talking about. He can't name them, but he has to be.
Well, I haven't read through the book enough.
What scholars? I haven't heard nothing.
Well, one of them.
It must be didn't last because it's still not talking about it. Usually when somebody say something like Martin Luther King was in the 60s.
Well, the guy that happened to wrote the book was a scholar.
I'm just saying, if he was so great, people would mention him a lot. But from what I see, I don't hear
people like that aren't mentioned a lot. Like men of knowledge, they're more obscured, and they're not in the.
Why you're gonna be in the background the rest of your life.
But see, you don't have to be in the foreground to be.
So you saying you're achieving greatness in the army right now? You're in the background.
Oh, I'm not talking about myself.
I can tell. You're going to be in the background. Don Juan is not a great scholar that they teach in college and high school or any other kind of university.
In sociology, wait, let's see. I would think in anthropology or sociology they would mention him. In fact, the book that I'm reading, a friend of mine read it as a result of a class because they had him read that. A class actually had them read that. See, once you get in the college level, you study things that, like I said, are obscured, that most people don't mention, that don't really hear about. Not unlike Martin Luther King, where you've heard his name mentioned ever since you were 5 years old.
But Don Juan, how can you listen to somebody who's practically eating their systems, practically on mushrooms and acid?
But it wasn't just. But it just wasn't the drugs he was using. He knew how to use them in order to.
How do you know?
I don't know. I don't know the guy. I'm just reading the book.
No, then you can't say that.
But all right. Before they went out tripping on Coyote, they had to. It was on his porch. They had to sit. They had to sit in the right place, and it took him 18 hours or so just to find the right place. I mean, for me, I wouldn't go through all that bullshit. I like to just read about it and see what it's all about.
The man was a psycho.
Oh, he's following an ancient way of doing things.
I see you put an ancient in the brain too.
Well, if you talk to the guy, and you have to know him, which you probably wouldn't be able to. He's probably dead by now. See, you have to understand this guy. He was just a freak. He was an elderly man. He's probably 64, 65, around that age, and he was built like we are now.
Give him more bread. Doesn't matter.
And his mind was very fresh. He was a very intelligent person.
My great-great-grandmother still, her mind is just as fresh as his. She don't have to go writing down foolish shit.
Well, he didn't write down anything. It was his apprentice.
His apprentice. I mean, one who does drugs does him good. About that time, Chief?
Well, we have a disagreement here about Don Juan, but I happen to admire him. I wouldn't follow him. I wouldn't do everything he told me.
Don't believe him. The way he's been talking.
I said I'm not going to believe everything he says, but I admire him. And I think that the man has a lot of power, or whatever, if he existed, had a lot of power.
I'm telling you, tell your friends back home. How can he say these things? He never met the man. He was a child when the man wrote this shit. And he didn't know what kind of drugs.
Well, that doesn't matter.
You're doing it by hearsay like a lot of people do.
You need a dental floss that tooth right there. You got some yellow shit in the crack.
I don't have no dental floss.
I got some. I brought some out here.
Well,
it's mint flavor too.
Well, give it to me then. Quit fucking preaching.
It's in the bag. But you don't have to be there in order to know about it. Just because people aren't there means that they don't have to shut it out like it never happened.
I'm not shutting anything out, David, man. Let me read a page for you out of here. I'm just flip over a page for you to turn back on. One paragraph. Okay. I asked him what it meant by severe conditions of seriousness. He said that the outcalled war cry was something that remained with the man for the duration of his life. Thus, it had to be good from the very beginning, and the only way to start it correctly was by holding back one's natural fear and haste until one was absolutely filled with power. And then the yell would burst out with direction and power. He said these were the conditions of seriousness. Okay, I can't say that word. Needed to launch the yell. And
what yell is this? Are you talking about like a war cry of some kind, or just some sudden impulse?
Probably, I don't know.
What are you digging into now?
I'm trying to find this fucking dinner for. Yeah, crackers and everything.
Well, this tape has come to an end. I will try to send this today if the mail run comes. But it's been, I think, yesterday or today you should have received the tape side sent already, and I'll just keep sending tape after tape after tape after tape after tape, and don't erase any of them, okay? And don't play them too much because these tapes will wear out.
They cheap.
They cheap. They cheap, man. They cheap. They motherfucking cheap. So, alright, man. I hope I see you guys, sometime in the future, in the near future, within the next couple months.
Cheap, just like David's cheap.
Well, I ain't going. Later.